Philip, and welcome to Today in Putnam County. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're having a great weekend. My goal with the show is to interview some amazing community leaders that make Putnam County a great place to live, work, and raise our families. My guest today is Mr. Bill Curran, who is the President and General Manager of Automation Tool Company here in Cookeville. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Randy.
Thanks for being here. Putnam County's been in a major growth spurt the past 4 or 5 years, and ATC has been a big part of that, and other companies like yours. So, first of all, let me say thank you for ATC being here in Cookeville, and so we want to spend the first part just talking about the history of Automation Tool. Been around a long time in Cookeville. I think the thing that amazes me the most, if we go all the way back to the beginning, is started by 2 individuals. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I can. This started 42 years ago. It goes quick, but the 2 co-founders was Chuck Smith, who worked here in town. I can't remember the company he was working with. I don't think they're located here anymore. But then Jack Miller was a salesman that was from up north around the Dayton area.
Right.
So he was calling on them, and those 2 decided, we can form a business because they saw the need. So they started out as a tool and die 42 years ago here in Cookeville. So it's kind of grown from there. Obviously, a lot of history and time has changed what we do. The main emphasis used to be tool and die, and as they saw the needs of their customers change, they said the need was really in the automation space. So that was just kind of a natural extension of tool and die. So and really when I came on board, which was 30 years ago now, I guess that dates me, but 30 years ago they decided they wanted to move into that space, and they really didn't know how to go about it, but they knew how to go attract the right people and put the right people in place to make that happen. So since then it's been a steady growth, kind of targeting those automation sector, both life science, automotive, and consumer product.
They had the great business sense about them to surround themselves with the people that knew how to do all these things. 2 very amazing guys, and of course I got to meet them again and see them again when you had the ribbon cutting grand opening at your expansion recently, and two very sharp individuals to take their dreams and turn it into something as big as Automation Tool. So you've been there 30 years. The changes that you must have seen in those past 30 years when it comes to your business have to be unbelievable with technology.
They are. My background's computer science, so I was kind of used to the changing world and what was going to be needed out there. And it has changed a great deal. As you can imagine, Moore's Law and how fast things change at a computer level, those things, while they don't change as fast at the consumer side, the products that we have today, the connectability that we have, the Internet of Things that are here today, those are topics that we weren't talking about 5, 10 years ago. Many of our customers guide us there, but we have to be on the forefront of that and work with them throughout that.
You have an amazing facility, over 200,000 square foot, I think. Tell us a little bit about that facility. I took a tour, but for the average person that doesn't have the ability to see that, very amazing what you're doing with robotics and automation.
Right. I think it's good to note that what we do as the products that we build, a customer comes to us with a need, and it's a product, whether it's a headlamp assembly or a lithroscopic instrument, and that they have the idea of what that product looks like, and they understand how to produce the individual components, but they don't know how to really put it together, make sure the quality is there, and do it in a fashion where they may be doing 100,000 or X million a year. So that's why customers come to us. And so we take our knowledge and say, we know how to assemble your product automatically and protect the quality throughout that. So if you come to our facility, it's made up of all those materials that actually make up an automated cell that we test in our facility to make sure we design it, build it, it functions as intended. We have the customer come there and visit, make sure it runs as they want it to, and then we take that same piece of equipment, send it to the manufacturer, and that's what they're producing their equipment on. So that's why you would see robotics, you would see engineering, you would see robotics, you would see electrical panel build, you would see machining, you would see every facet that makes automation work today.
And amazing, you're taking someone's dream and you're creating that assembly process or creation process they take to their company somewhere or set it
That's
up.
exactly right.
And that assembly line makes it work.
Exactly right.
When I took the tour, I thought the most amazing thing, you're doing so many things, but one of those was you were making sunroofs for vehicles. You put together an assembly line that was creating the sunroofs that go into
Correct.
vehicles. So you have a wide range of products that you work with, right?
We sure do, and that's from automotive side. The larger projects, just like you mentioned, are sunroofs. You can imagine those are large to begin with, so they take up a lot of floor space, but we also have projects that are very small. The components are small, especially life science things that are small in nature, but very complex. So we do, yeah, a full spectrum of that.
How many employees do you employ?
Almost 300 between this location and the one in Mexico.
So you have a second location
We do.
now that's in Mexico. Tell us a bit about it and what it does.
We really have done a lot in Latin America, and predominantly Mexico over the last 10 years. And so one thing we wanted to be as close to the customer. So with that volume of work and a lot of our customer base in Latin America, we thought it was only right to be there close to service the customer. So 3 years ago, we went ahead and started a division just outside of Monterrey, Mexico. It's still small. We'd always had service in the area, but to develop and actually do what we do here in Cookville, just on a smaller scale, to do it in Mexico, we thought was really needed. So that's where it's at today. Only about 20 people, but growing, about a 20,000 square foot building. But it's important that we get the right people. They're trained as we would be trained here in Cookville. So everyone we hire, we really want them to take our mindset and make sure it can be produced equally well in Mexico.
It's a great success story to have a Cookville company that's now expanded into Mexico and expanding in Latin America and hopefully around the
Right.
world as things continue to grow.
We do equipment around the world, but in terms of our sales in the market, it's really been North American. That's where we're focused. But we do send equipment almost in any major country you can imagine around the world, depending on our customer and if there's a need for them to produce that equipment in another country. And we do service around the world as well.
So it's all about being customer oriented inside your business.
Absolutely.
Word of mouth is what sells the business. I think I
Correct.
saw something on your website where like 87% of your business is repeat business.
It is, and that's so important. You've got to retain your customer base, and you got to build on that. So you got to do it right. You're only good as your last job, so you want to make sure every job you produce is a quality job that customer's going to come back to you time and time again. So we have partnerships that have went, almost since we started the business. So it's really important in moving forward.
Well, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
You're listening to Today in Putnam County on News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub. I'm County Mayor Randy Porter, your host. More with Bill Curran when we come back. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. I hope you're having a great weekend. My guest this morning is Bill Curran, who is the president of Automation Tool Company here in Cookville. Bill, we've been talking about the processes that you develop that helps create products and put products together for folks. One of them we were talking about during the break is an insulin device that you're creating that maybe our listeners maybe already use or may have to use someday. Can
Right.
you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. That's one of the exciting things, is we get to be involved in a lot of kind of industry-leading devices out there. And there's nothing that's necessarily new about an insulin device, but the way it's delivered now and the way it's going to be delivered in the future is how do you connect the amount of insulin you're actually injecting your body, and that's going to become, we're going to close that circuit. So what we're doing is we're assembling the device that actually delivers the insulin, and we're improving that device. And again, this is because our customer has already came up with this idea. We're
Right.
giving them the capability to produce the product, but that actually allows a connectability with that. So if you're injecting insulin, you not only know how much you're injecting, but it's also going to feed that information back to your phone. So from a Bluetooth device, it's going to know how much you injected, so it knows not only when you need it, but how much you injected, so you can kind of keep control of the complete cycle. So that's some of the exciting things we get involved with.
Isn't that amazing? So your insulin device now, a lot of people have those pumps,
Right.
for instance, is going to be connected by Bluetooth to your
Correct.
cell phone now.
Right.
And you're going to be able to have all that data loaded on your cell phone at any
That-
time to know how many units you've been getting.
That's
and
correct. Correct.
That is absolutely amazing.
So much with the medical world, we're trying to close the loop on not only what you're supposed to do, but did you do it, and then how did your body react to it? So it's kind of an exciting time.
So medical devices, automotive, you've got all these companies that you work with, and your job basically to kind of boil it down is that you're creating the assembly process or the manufacturing process for that product to be put together or made. Is that a...
That's well said, better than I can say it. I like the way you did that.
Well, it's easy when I've been down and saw your plant and all the many things you got going on, but for our listener out there, we'll make sure we get it down to the point that they understand what your company does. To be able to do all that, you have to have some very talented individuals working for you.
Absolutely.
You've got a great relationship with Tennessee Tech, I know. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Right, I think let's start with the people. You mentioned the people. We don't have a product because we're a creative group. We come up with solutions for our customers, and so we have to have the very best and the brightest people out there. So everybody we have at ATC is skilled. I mean, from the engineers, mechanical, electrical engineering, through machine builders, machinists, assemblers, electricians, you name it, we have a really high skilled workforce. That's what ATC is a group of highly skilled people. Obviously the engineering aspect of what we do, Tennessee Tech is just the perfect partner to make sure that's successful. Many of our engineers have came from Tennessee Tech. So it continues to be something we want to foster and grow. It's a natural extension of what Tennessee Tech does. So today we're working through co-op programs, we're working with their PLC labs, we're working with different aspects of their business because they're a great extension and
Right.
help us grow our business in the future.
So Tennessee Tech, one of the top engineering schools
Absolutely.
in the southeast, maybe in the
Absolutely.
country, a never-ending supply of those students coming out of Tech, and you kind of get the cream of the crop, don't you, Bill?
We have, there's a lot of great people there, and the type of person we tend to look for is more on the applied science. It's not the theorist, it's the people that actually can understand how equipment works and see it in their mind ahead of even designing it. So, and I think part of this region being a bit more rural kind of caters to that. So I think the people we get are absolutely phenomenal.
Tennessee Tech is a great asset we have for our community, not only for having the students here, but then having those graduates to be able to stay here.
Exactly.
In the past, there's been times that those students have had to travel and go other places, move other places to get the job. Now they have the opportunity through companies like yours and SAIC and some of the other ones that have been here that we can keep those folks in.
Absolutely. Which is a credit, I think, to what you're doing and other people to help this area grow so we can have those great jobs to keep our students right here at home.
We've got a great team, we really do.
Absolutely.
You just opened a new addition to your facility recently that is amazing at how you're growing. Can you talk a little bit about the new addition?
We added about 66,000 square feet. About 20,000 of that was for engineering. Again, we have a large amount of engineers. About a third of our employee base is engineers. But this type of equipment we build, some of it can be very large, like you mentioned, the sunroof project. You have to have a lot of space because those take up a lot of room. So one thing we really never want to find ourselves is in a position of saying no to a customer because I don't have floor space to assemble and run their equipment. So we looked 5 years out where we need to be, and that's what we've done, is we've tried to put the expansion where for 5 years we shouldn't have to worry about floor space, and that's where we're at today, and that's why we've added that. And also to give it kind of a clean, updated, fresh appearance that most manufacturers are looking for.
Technology is changing so fast in this world we live in. What do you see for the future of ATC going down the pipe? Anything really just sticks in your mind that's a new technology or something that's coming out that you see?
You know, we follow the lead of our customers,
Right.
obviously, but from what I can see, it's going to continue to be autonomous. It's going to be Internet of Things. It's going to be connectability, so that means more smart devices in every facet of our life moving forward.
We have a lot of great companies that are developing all kinds of great new things that are coming out. Our lives are changing so much. One thing that helps facilitate some of that in Cookeville, and you wear multiple hats that we're going to get into now. You're also the chairman of the board for the Putnam County Chamber of Commerce, which just hit a milestone with its 1,000th customer, but a member of the chamber. how do you find the time to do your business and run it, and then be involved in the chamber also?
I don't know that it's unlike anybody else's role out there. You do what you need to do, and being part of the chamber is really part of just being civic-minded. I think as we grow our business, we have to be good stewards of the business in large and what we can do to create more membership, more great paying jobs, more opportunity in our general area. So to me, it's not a question of not having time, it's a question of you just got to do those things to better the environment that we live and work in.
A lot of it is service to the community.
It is.
Isn't it?
Absolutely.
To give back to the community that's been so
Absolutely.
good to us, to allow us to have great jobs and to work here and to be able to give back to the people.
Well, and the other thing is we want to create a vision for our children and grandchildren that they have a great place that's growing and thriving and a great place to be. So.
Absolutely. We have a great place
We
here.
do.
And we'll make
Absolutely.
sure we keep it that way.
That's
and
well
make,
said. Well
and
said.
make it even better.
Absolutely.
You're listening to Today in Putnam County on News Talk 107.7 at 1400 The Hub. I'm Randy Porter, your host. Coming up after the break, more with our Chamber of Commerce Chairman and also ATC President and General Manager, Mr. Bill Curran. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. Hope you're having a great weekend. My guest this morning is Bill Curran, who's the president of Automation Tool Company here in Cookeville. Bill is also the chairman of the Cookeville-Putnam County Chamber of Commerce, who we work closely together with. Bill, your job as chairman of the board is a leadership position. I know you've been a member of the chamber for a while. The chamber seems to really be thriving now. Like I said, we hit 1,000 members of the chamber. How's it going at the chamber?
Yeah, I think that it's exciting times. I think as the growth of Cookeville, obviously that's been partly due to the chamber's responsibility out there, and I think they've always been pro-business, creating a market that wants to attract new businesses. And obviously, that's a collaboration process. But as chamber, as chamber chair, basically come in and to help just oversight, because we have a board that's very diverse, and that's intentional because the chamber serves business in general. So you want retail, you want banking, you want construction, you want different aspects
You want it all.
You want it all. So really, it's a cross-section of the business community, and I think that's what makes the board very diverse, and that's what makes the decisions you make better, too. So it's really just an oversight of the chamber and their operation, but we have fantastic leadership in terms of the individual departments, from George Halford, who's done a fantastic job over the last 15 years. And he's only the second in the 50 years it's been in existence.
That's pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing that we have to. Of course, George is retiring on us at the end of the year. Chamber's involved right now in the middle of a search process for any person. How's that going?
That is going well. The chamber basically is contracted with a group in South Carolina, your group, that is kind of their focus is on chamber and development, and so they have a good understanding of what the needs are of chambers and growing chambers and where chambers going to be next year and 5 years and 10 years from now. So with George's leadership, we're certainly looking for that right person that can step in and start running this next year. The process is going well. The first round of the looking at, well, I guess the best way to say it is the first phase of that was seeing who was interested in the position, marketing for that position. We've now refined the number of applicants down to a smaller group, and we think it's a good qualified group, and then that will be further interviewed over the coming 2 weeks. And then if that candidate is still in the pool, we'll continue the process, and then if not, we'll go out and relook again at what kind of options there are on that. But feel good about the process right now.
What's the time frame, Bill, on trying to have someone in? And I know before George leaves at the end of the year, but is the goal to try to have someone in a month or so beforehand so they could kind of pick up some things from George on a kind of a transition period?
Yeah, I think the good thing is George had enough foresight to say, look, I'll do whatever I need to do, so if you find somebody sooner, that's great, I'll work with them. If it takes a little longer, I'll work with them too. But our goal is to get somebody in before the end of the year so they can be that overlap. But again, George has been gracious enough to say, look, I'll be there to help out whatever I need to do. So I don't feel like there's a time crunch. We want to get the right person, not just get a person.
Absolutely.
So that's the most important goal.
We have a key team made up of city, county, chamber, Tennessee Tech, Cool Regional Hospital. You got all these people that come together that is, I think, is the reason that we've had such success in economic development, workforce development, all these things that we got going, the growth that we have going on in Cool and Putnam County.
Right.
We want to make sure that team stays intact, and no matter who the face is inside of that position, whether it be the chamber president, the county mayor, city mayor, whoever it is, we'll make sure that team stays together. And as you said, it's very important to make sure that we get the right person in that chair to make sure that that team stays together. We always talk about the team. Do you see that on your end too with the chamber as that being a great thing for Putnam County?
Oh, absolutely. And I think it goes to how the chamber operates internally as well. The chamber has 5 programs led by really good group of people that they work as a team internal to the chamber. Obviously, I think the best decisions get made when there's collaboration going on, and as you said, the different groups that are collaborating is really what has set this area apart. So I think that is paramount moving forward, that whoever takes that position has that same vision and the ability to work with all the groups that you mentioned earlier to make sure that we are working cohesively and to build a stronger base.
And I think it's key. We had a consultant, as you know, told us when they looked at what were we doing right and wrong, and they thought we were doing a great job and everything. They said we were one appointment or one election away from that team maybe not being so good. So I have a lot of faith in the chamber that y'all are going to pick the right person, and that we will continue that team effort of everything we do.
I think it puts a lot of emphasis that we need that person to have those traits that you just mentioned, because I think that's what you've done so well, is pull people together and work in a cohesive environment. We want to maintain that.
Absolutely. Bill, you do a great job. Thank you for being here today. We are so proud to have automation tool in our county. We're so proud to have you as our chamber chairman of the board and a member of the chamber and a member of our community. So thank you for all you do.
Randy, thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Bill Curran, he's with Automation Tool and also the chamber chairman of the board for Putnam County Cookeville Chamber of Commerce.